Hi, my name's Morgan York, and today we'll be talking about how to start a writing session. So on my Instagram a while back, I asked my followers if they had any questions about writing, and many of them said they don't know how to get started, or they don't know what to do when they get stuck. In the years that I've been writing novels, getting started on a writing session is usually the toughest part. You know, committing to sitting in that chair, opening your document, picking up where you left off, which is why I start every writing session by rereading what I wrote in my last session. This takes a lot of discipline since your temptation will probably be to fix all of the shit you wrote last time. Ignore that. The only reason you're rereading is to entrench yourself back in the mind of your character and in the world of your story. You want to get firmly rooted in a situation before you continue a scene or start a new scene. Easier said than done, but it gets easier with practice. As for actually getting the words down, that can be intimidating. Maybe you're worried that what you're about to write will suck just as much as it did last time, or on the flip side, what you wrote last time was so good that you can't possibly live up to it this time. Luckily, we're writing a first draft, which by definition is supposed to be terrible, so none of those things matter. If you're running a marathon and you trip, do you start the whole marathon over? No, you keep going. Get that desire to write this perfectly on your first time out of your head, because nobody writes a perfect first draft. And I mean, nobody. You're not the exception. Stop it. Ah yes, subtweeting myself in my own video. Anyway, to show you an example of how to get started, we are going to look at the last paragraph that I wrote in my last writing session. A completely unedited paragraph that I slapped down a couple of days ago, so help me God, and will resist editing as I work on it now. Then I'll guide you through my thoughts as I write what comes next. Alright bitches, here we go. Okay, so this is a paragraph from my most recent writing session. I'm writing a YA high fantasy, as you can kind of tell by some of the things referenced here. I did change names of some characters, and I removed some proper nouns specific to my story because I'm anxious as hell for no reason, and am for some reason terrified of people knowing my characters' names in my works in progress. But whatever! Okay, so let's read what we have here right now. The horses trotted into the village, sticking to the wide path that ran through the center. No guards this one, thank the great lady. Layla scoped out signs that would point them to the inn, and then steered her horse along several narrower roads. She'd grown up hearing that every city, village, and town in the country boasted its own unique character, each rich with a particular culture that wasn't replicated anywhere else. But at this point, Layla had passed through so many towns that the ones belonging to the same regions blended together. This village could have been an exact copy of the town they'd stayed in last night. Same short and downy grass spreading across the flat land, same windmill standing next to the same temple to the same god. The roads here were bordered by peonies, though. The last town had daisies. Alright, Morgan, get it out of your system. Resist the urge to edit the paragraph. Okay, we're good. Now, as you can see, this is a physical description of a new, or I guess, new-ish place for our main character, blended with her attitude toward the place. So first I need to think a little bit about the situation my characters are in. So my main character is traveling with 3 other characters. They're in the middle of an investigation they're being assigned. The next place they're headed towards is kind of far away, so they're traveling through all of these different towns in order to get to that faraway town. So that is the overall goal of the characters. It might help to think of your character's goals in terms of an overall goal and an immediate goal for the scene. So their immediate goal, as you can tell by the paragraph, is they're searching for the inn so that they can stay in it. And what I have planned is they're going to reach the inn, and a scene will take place in that inn. Okay, so we've got that down. Now I have to consider my main character's emotional, physical, mental, whatever state that she's in at this point, as well as, to a slightly lesser degree, because they're not the point of view characters right now, the emotional, physical, and mental situations of the other 3 characters in the scene. So since I just reread everything that I wrote in my last session, I know that my character is feeling a little bit nervous about them running out of money, and she's also exhausted from traveling for so long. So both of those things are going to affect her mood. Other characters are also exhausted. Some of them are kind of worried about money. Some of them aren't as worried about that. It really depends on their background. Like, for example, one of the characters has never been the primary earner for her home, so she's not super worried about money, mostly because she doesn't have a lot of experience with it. Meanwhile, the main character and another character are used to not providing for their homes necessarily, but contributing financially to the household, so they're a little bit more like, this is a nerve-wracking situation. But anyway, okay, now we know what's going on internally, we know what's going on externally, we can start somewhere. So now my experience with prior novels is coming in because I'm thinking I could spend a paragraph getting them to the inn, or we could jump straight to the inn within 1 sentence and get the scene started already. In previous novels, I had a bad habit of spending way too much time getting places when we really didn't need that much transition. So we're gonna avoid that pitfall here. Alright, so we have 2 sentences. At the inn. Boom. We're at the inn now. No transition needed. Stabled their horses. The horses are accounted for. So we have the detail where they ladled themselves ferociously delicious but woefully expensive stew, which plays into Layla's exhaustion and probably ferocious hunger, but continues that thread of, oh my god, what if we run out of money? And the next sentence introduces the next scene I want to start. So up until now, the 4 characters have all shared rooms and inns, but this is going to be a smaller inn, so it's going to be 2 to a room. Gonna cause some conflict here, considering 2 of the characters have feelings for each other and haven't quite admitted it yet. As you saw at first, I started a ridiculously long sentence at first, which is my habit in first drafts, with 3 points to it, stabled their horses, ladled themselves the stew, and went upstairs. But I realized I wanted to put some emphasis on the fact that they only had 2 keys, since that's going to lead into the next scene's conflict. So I backtracked and made that its own sentence to give it some emphasis. Alright, the first room they entered showed them why. Now that gets us into the room so we're not having this whole awkward conversation in the hallway of the inn. Alright, so now we got Will here. 2 to a room, eh? Will tossed his pack onto one of the beds. He shot Layla a sidelong glance that she didn't like the look of at all. Ren, care to bunk with me? So, Will is well aware that the main character has feelings for this other girl in their group, and basically he's trying to play wingman right now. And Layla is not at all comfortable with her feelings yet, so she's just like, oh no, oh shit. So now we are in the scene. It's gotten playful already, it's gotten fun. Now I am more comfortable, I don't feel as intimidated. We've got some banter going already. I am excited to jump in. So there's some insight into how my writing process works with regards to getting a scene started. I really hoped that helped you out a little bit. Maybe it jump-started some inspiration of your own, gave you some ideas about how to get back into the flow of things. Let me know in the comments if that helped you out. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy writing!